I wanted to talk about a possible link between machismo and having this emotional dysregulation, right? Where you aren't able to regulate your emotions in a healthy way because of what you were shown, what you saw as a child, right? And how it can lead to this terrible place of being either stuck with a narcissist or behaving in narcissistic ways, right? And the link between this is because of how important emotions are, right? If all you're seeing at home is negative emotions, where it's all anger, yelling, you're physically hit, um, all these behaviors go together as something that somebody wanting to keep power and control is doing, right? So it's a lot of controlling behaviors that they're using on you to manipulate you into thinking that your emotions, what you're feeling, what your maybe your failures and what you're doing are all bad, right? They're all negative aspects of you, and showing them or using them in any other way is not going to be accepted in this house, right? And that has to do a lot with how machismo works, right? Where we're stoic, we're strong, where we repress things, where we don't accept weaknesses in others, like the possibility of depression, of feeling like you are empty, like you're nothing, that you aren't loved, right? And this leads to the child growing up and becoming somebody that's stuck in trauma bonds where they're seeking that that attention, that love, and validation from somebody at the cost of themselves, right? At the cost of their mental well-being, their physical well-being, whatever it may be that they have to sacrifice to get from that person, right? And whatever they have to allow that person to do to them so that they can get that. They may allow terrible behaviors like that, anger, yelling, and in return, they may become somebody that does that back to them as well. And it just leads to this place where the whole relationship becomes dysfunctional, but it's what they've known, it's what they've seen, it's what they've grown up seeing in their parents and their family members. So to them, it's not anything out of the ordinary, and this is just the way that life is now, right? And some people go on their whole lives living this way, and it's a life that's not very fulfilling, a life of anxiety, of nervousness, of feeling like you're walking on eggshells all the time, right? Like anything you do may set the other person off. But on the other hand, people that choose to break free and break that cycle, right, of being stuck in these relationships are going to find themselves kind of out in the open and alone in our Mexican American culture, because there's truly isn't a lot of focus in on what narcissism is for us. We don't like that word. We don't use that word. It's not something that is a part of our culture. So identifying these behaviors in your own family, identifying them in your past partners is something that's relatively new, right, for a lot of us, especially Mexican Americans that are first generation, second generation. But when you start to educate yourself and gain knowledge into this stuff, then you can start to identify where you can set boundaries, where you can cut things off from an instant, right? Or choose just not to be there for that. Just remove yourself from the situation, where you can start to build this emotional resilience, right? This is the type of healthy regulation of emotions that normal people are able to do, right? And that resilience, that feeling of gaining your validation internally, right? Where you are self-compelled, self-propelled towards your own happiness, right? Where you don't have to achieve that by gaining it from somebody else in exchange for giving up a piece of yourself, right? And this is a very difficult switch to make if you've been stuck in these trauma bonds, these terrible relationships for a long time, right? Where you may have had them over and over again, and it's just a cycle that you've lived through, and it's just a feeling that you've always had, right? Of never being enough, of feeling like you're empty inside, of feeling confused, of having somebody always only focus on the bad parts of you, never acknowledging the good parts of you, the good things you've done, ignoring all the times you went out of your way for them, right? So just be very careful about allowing these cultural norms and these cultural expectations of not being somebody that's weak, right? That shows emotions, that's vulnerable, keep you in this place, keep you in these relationships, keep you stuck with a narcissist.